The thing about the Erica Banks video is that she said a lot of the things that folks do not want to say, but definitely live by. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
So you all know Erica Banks did a close friends video, and she talked about she'd like friends to look a certain way to come to the club with her. They can't be skinny, they have to be thick, their hair got to be done, all of these things. Now this was posted to her close friends, and somebody recorded and posted to social media, which started the conversation, and people started to drag Erica Banks, rightfully so. Now before we get into it, I really want y'all to watch the video for context, so let's watch it real quick.
Ain't a certain type of look. If she don't look how I want her to look physically, I don't want her to come, because the look of everything is so important to me. Like if she ain't thick enough, nope. Her not did good enough, nope. Can't dress, nope. Skinny, nope. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm discriminating. I just want a certain type of look. She could be the sweetest girl I ever met in my life, but if she don't look the part, I don't want her to come. Like, that's just not the vibe I'm on. Now, she can come to the cookout. She can come to the listening party. But the club, I feel like bitches got to look a certain way to come.
So in this video, you see Erica Banks kind of saying, you know, that's just her preference. And it reminds me of the constant conversation on social media about dating and this and that. And I have my preferences. I don't like certain things. I don't like, you know, this. I don't like this and that. It's just like, we have to understand that preferences do not happen in a vacuum. There's a reason why, oftentimes, why you prefer certain things. If you prefer light-skinned women, we have a definition for that. Like if you prefer thin folks, we have a word and a definition for that. If you prefer dark-skinned folks, and you like, sometimes they can be like, hey, you might be fetishizing dark-skinned folks, and you see that, you hear that, you know, all the time. Like, it is a real thing. Now, what got me is that when Erica Banks said this, I couldn't help but think about this trend that happened a couple of years ago, back in 2020, during the pandemic. You had a lot of folks who were in the house, and they, you know, hey girl, we can be cute, we can get dressed and do, you know, trends and challenges and stuff, and make content and post to keep us like live. And I thought it was cute, some of the trends, like the brush there, the makeup brush thing, and people transitioning, doing makeup and all that. And then there was one where it was a bunch of black gay men in relationships, and they were showing off their, you know, friends who are in relationships, and they was passing the phone over to them, and it was recording them out and getting dressed to go out or whatever. And I noticed something very specific in the challenge. Like, every one of these couples were thin, they were gym body, they were lighter skin, they all had a certain look, and I just was like confused, because I was like, how are y'all all friends? And like, where are there's no diversity. And we still see that now when the girls go out on trips, they go to the beach, they take their yacht pictures, and everybody is on the boat, everybody's thin. And if you do get a fat person or somebody with not a desirable gym body or not thin, they will have something covering up their fatness. Probably because they don't feel comfortable for several reasons, not necessarily their fault, but the world around them has made them feel uncomfortable living their truth. So people do, unfortunately, without trying, because they don't think there's something wrong with it, choose friends, choose partners and stuff based off of desirability. Like, girl, like, who else can we reference besides Deshaun Harrison, who wrote a whole book about these things? Belly of the Beast, The Politics of Anti-Fatness as Anti-Blackness. It was clear anti-blackness, the stuff that she was just like describing, and it makes me think about, like, you know, they have to have their hair done, like they have to have this, what is considered done? What is considered done? What do you consider their hair being done? Because I know if Erica Banks is saying that, she probably don't want the natural girls to be out too. That she don't want the natural girls to be out there too, because that's not beauty. That's not beauty. That's not beauty to a lot of folks. To the world, that's not beauty. Yes, we are embracing it. We are definitely trying to embrace it. But it's a long way to go when we're sitting here like making comments about people's natural hair and the length and all that other stuff is still anti-black. So watching Erica Banks say this in her very close friends, you know, a lot of people think like this, unfortunately. Like, I just think about the times that I've been around people and they've kind of shown that they are not interested in getting to know somebody based off of their energy or their attitude or behavior or just how they are as a person. If you are desirable, people will put up with your shit. Like, people want to be in the room with you. People want to be surrounded by you because there's capital in that. People have capital in being desirable. Like, you can be in the club and stuff with me. We can go out. I will want friendship based off of you being desired. I want to walk on the club with a bunch of bad bitches and it's like all this other stuff. But it's like, what is your idea of a bad bitch and all this stuff? Like, what does that look like? And it has a preference. Like, I prefer these things. Y'all preferences discriminate on other black people. Y'all preferences are inherently anti-black. Y'all preferences are elitist. Very much so. And I see it so much. So even I'm seeing the conversation about Erica Banks and people dragging her and saying, oh, Erica Banks can't talk because she's ugly and her body is not all of that. She just got a BBL, da da da. That's the conversation. That's the conversation. Let's research, mamas. Let's research. Like, we're talking about Erica Banks being ugly and not fitting those things. It's probably one of the reasons why she went and got a quote unquote BBL if she did go get one. Because there is capital in being desirable. So when we drag black women for going to get BBLs and going to get quote unquote fake bodies and things, who is really at fault when these women are oftentimes trying to survive and trying to get capital out of being desired? That happens a lot. That I cannot stress to you. Like, I've been around people who are so interested, like it's so interesting, like they will discuss, oh, such and such did that, oh well, I'm gonna let them slide because luckily they're cute, or oh, we'll do this because they're cute. There's so much capital in being desired, and the people who hold the most capital in being desired are white folks. Because the whole system is inherently anti-black. The whole system is anti-black. So it's like, you will only be so, like, you can only be so desirable. But sure, like, there are average looking white men who will be more desired than the most desired black man. We're seeing that right now with the conversation about Jeffrey Dahmer. This is a serial killer who has killed a lot of black and brown folks, black and brown queer people, and this man is a white man who has like just an average build, an average face, and people are trying to justify him being like the conversation of him being cute or attractive, or he would have got me, and it's just like, stay on topic. But people cannot fathom and understand that a person who is desirable can cause harm. They can't get it out. Because we've been conditioned from so much media and stuff that we consume, even the Disney movies, the Disney animation and stuff, we've seen the character oftentimes be, these quote unquote undesired things, and they are evil. We saw it with Scar, we saw it with, what's his name from Aladdin, Jafar, we saw it with, other characters who are like, and yes, it's been one or two characters who have been desirable or whatever, and then they end up being like messed up people, but it's oftentimes being told to us that only undesirable people cause harm because they are mad at the world for being ugly. So calling Erica Banks ugly really doesn't do any work, because Erica Banks is not ugly. She's a dark-skinned black girl. I don't care if she has a BBL or not, she's not ugly. Her behavior is ugly. her behavior and how she treats and uses people, and then she considers these people her friends, it's ugly. But unfortunately, a lot of us are ugly like that when we think about who we want to be around and who we surround ourselves. Because if you don't have any capital, I don't want to be around you. And it's really messed up. It's really, really sad. So when I watch that, I'm thinking about all the times that people subconsciously have like alluded to them not wanting to be around quote unquote ugly folks. Like I've watched them like, girl, what you're saying, how you're thinking, your preferences are trash, and they're anti-black, and they just don't like that because they just feel like, oh well, no, that's just how I feel. Da, 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 da. But it's like, girl, you're picking people. You're sitting here saying they can be an ugly person. I mean, Erica Banks said it. Like, I don't care about how they are as a person. I care about what you look like, and it makes me think about how dating is and how often we are in spaces where, like, even on the apps or whatever, like even at like a kickback I had where no one was interested in someone's, you know, what energy they had, what necessarily, like some people were, but the main thing was, what do you look like? What do you look like? It's like you can be a messed up person, but as long as you are desirable, that's all that happens. Like I remember just last night at the Lil Nas X concert, there was this tall guy with broad shoulders, very desirable, curly hair. He looked like he was like mixed with, like he was either, you know, mixed with, you know, I think probably like black and like Latinx or something. And he was kind of like he was a little bit nasty, and he was just taking up space. He kept trying to get in front of us. And my friend talked about it on social media. He was like, this gets standing in the way. And everybody on the comments was like, oh girl, he looks cute though. He looks cute. It's like everything goes out the window. So if we're saying that we have to talk about a person being desirable in an instance where we're talking about, hey girl, this person's obnoxious and doing stuff, but you're pointing out they're cute, they're attractive, the same thing with Jeffrey Dahmer. What do you think happens when a person is perceived to be ugly? How do you think the response to them is? Even if they did not necessarily do it, the conversation will change and shift drastically, because now it's like, oh yeah, he ugly, he need to get out the way. Or she ugly, she need to get out the way. Like, why is she even talking? Like, how dare you as an ugly person take up space? How dare an ugly person exist? And it happens. It happens a lot. And for the people who are read as undesirable, it's taxing and it's tiring. I can't explain how much that drains folks who are read as undesirable. Like, it's annoying. So I'm just having this conversation because I want people to understand how we look at people and how we engage, and how often the stuff that Erica Banks was saying to her close friends manifests in us, and how we see friendships and stuff. Because if all of your friends are thin, you don't have any like fat friends, you don't have any dark-skinned friends, you don't have any friends, like you don't have a diverse friend group, what does that say about you? Because if you do not have that, what do you think you're doing in a position of power where you are, let's say you're hiring somebody, or you're trying to help somebody get assistance or stuff, you're more likely to help, and there's been studies that have shown that, you're more likely to help someone who is desirable versus someone who is undesirable. It happens. Like, oh, I liked him. He was very handsome. He was very what's the name, and you automatically assume that this person is good because they're desirable. And now you want to hire them. You want to help them because they deserve to be at the top based off of them being desirable, which is what adds to the conversation about there being capital in being desirable, because you can sell that. You can sell that. So think about the folks who do not and what that means for them. So, not going to spend too long on it, but tell me your thoughts about this whole thing and how it shows up in your places or whatever. How do you see conversations like this manifest in the spaces that you are in? Because I see them all the time. Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later.